Now at 10, a daughter still waiting for justice 23 years after her father, a local deputy, was killed. Swift reaction after an officer is caught on camera kicking a handcuffed suspect in the head. And would this make you feel more secure about living alone? A closer look at shadow boyfriends.
And first tonight, new developments in the death of a woman whose body was found at this bus stop in southeast Houston today. A man has been arrested, and it turns out he is no stranger to the victim.
He's her boyfriend, and he is charged with the murder tonight. Our Lauren Tallarico is downtown at HPD headquarters with the very latest. Lauren?
Well, Houston police say the victim is Deborah Haggerty, a 63-year-old woman who lived with her boyfriend Herbert Hill. Tonight, he has been arrested for murder. Now, no mugshot right now as he's currently being booked into the system, but police say that at about 4:30 this morning, he stabbed Haggerty to death at a Metro bus stop. This was right across the street from the Broadway apartments where they lived together. Neighbors say that not long before she died, they heard the couple fighting for hours.
From about 1:30 to about 2 or so, I could hear them fighting. I was sitting outside on a bench by my apartment. You could hear them, and it was over money.
We did check into Herbert Hill's criminal history. The 57-year-old does have previous charges, including robbery, burglary of a vehicle, and DUI. Tonight, that murder charge has also been added. Len.
All right, thanks for the update tonight, Lauren. Bedbugs at the bus barn. HISD says it will fumigate several buses at its Barnett School Bus Terminal after someone shot this video. It shows a bedbug crawling around in a chair in an employee area. Drivers say they've seen bedbugs on 2 different buses, but the district says they haven't found any on board.
Lots of people are reacting tonight to a potentially embarrassing possibility. Texas being duped by the Russians.
You might recall a few years ago we reported on the Jade Helm military exercise conducted by U.S. troops. Conspiracy theories ran rampant that the exercise was a covert operation to implement martial law.
One of the hot spots for those theories was in Livingston, and that's where we find Levi Ismail with a new reaction tonight. Levi?
Well, this Walmart was closed briefly in 2015, and that helped to spark rumors that this would actually become the site of a processing facility for Texans if the state went into martial law. But no one expected who was behind helping to spread that fear around the state.
When they kept talking about they were going to close the store, there was a lot of stories going on.
This shouldn't come as a surprise, but there are no Humvees in this Livingston Walmart, and certainly no soldiers doing drills.
We were just made fun of all the stories that we kept hearing.
They were always just stories until conspiracy theorists had people convinced Jade Helm 15 was the government's way of using these stores to train and eventually take over Texas.
They're preparing to initiate martial law and maybe even roundups. This is not a joke.
Turns out these ideas began online, as the CIA now confirms Russian bots fueled the propaganda. In Livingston, it's not sitting well.
They picked the wrong city and the wrong state.
Remember, this is the same theory that convinced Governor Greg Abbott to have the Texas State Guard ready just in case.
It's funny how our media can get really blown out of proportion sometimes until we find out the facts.
CIA officials believe Russian meddling in Jade Helm was a warm-up for interfering in the presidential election.
If they can be involved in politics, yeah, they had to start somewhere.
What Russia is capable of should be no surprise, but here in Livingston, they've got a warning of their own.
We're very protective of our area and of our rights, and we challenge those that want to come in here to rethink.
Now, this isn't the first time that Russia has been implicated in trying to organize some sort of effort in influencing people in Texas. In 2016, they actually helped to organize a protest in front of a Houston mosque. Len, Mia, back to you.
Reporting from Livingston, thanks so much. Former President George H.W. Bush is making it clear he is ready to go home. He sent out a tweet today saying He's moved the Houston Methodist Hospital named an atrium after him and his late wife Barbara, but insists he has not taken up permanent residence in the hospital. As soon as he gets the green light, he's out of there. Mr. Bush was admitted back on April 22nd for a blood infection, but has been steadily getting better.
He is out of there, and we want him out of there. Well, we never like hearing these words. An area of disturbed weather in the tropics. And it's only May.
Yeah, Dave, anything we need to worry about?
You know, as I was putting this piece together for tonight, I was reminded that last hurricane season, we had a storm develop in April. It was called Arlene. So having an early season or an out-of-season storm is certainly never out of the question. And this is the spot we're looking at this evening, this area of disturbed weather, tropical disturbance. It is not showing any significant signs of development. And computer models really don't develop it as the whole mess kind of drifts toward Florida over the next couple of days. But it does bring up the question, how common is this for a storm to develop out of season? The normal season is June and November, but since we've kept records late 1800s, there have been 88 storms developed outside of that 6-month period. 49 of them came in the month of May. Now look at this. This may be the most famous out-of-season storm ever. This is Maria, hurricane that formed in December of 1954 and was still a hurricane in January of 1955. It is the only hurricane to ever live in 2 calendar years, 1954 and 1955, and that one was way out of season. We'll talk about the weekend forecast and Cinco de Mayo coming up here in a couple of minutes.
All right, that's more like it. Can't believe we're already here, nearly at hurricane season. Thanks so much, Dave. And one of his first TV appearances as a lawyer for President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, may have upped the president's legal risk by mistake. Giuliani contradicted the president by saying Mr. Trump did reimburse his personal lawyer for hush money paid to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. It happened in the month leading up to the presidential election. The president denied knowing anything about the payment last month when reporters asked him about it. If the president knew about his lawyer's payment and didn't disclose it, that might be a violation of campaign finance laws.
It's an outrage, frankly, that the President of the United States would stand on Air Force One on videotape and blatantly lie to the American people. The President and his advisors are making this up as they go along. They realize they are in a heap load of trouble.
The president tweeted this morning that the payment had nothing to do with the campaign, but minutes later on Fox and Friends, Giuliani appeared to contradict him a second time by directly linking the payoff to the outcome of the election.
Oh, you ain't have to do all that, buddy. You tripping.
Shocking video tonight. A Miami police officer has been removed from duty after he was caught on camera kicking a suspect in the head while the man was on the ground in handcuffs. The person who took this video this morning says the suspect was running from police but then surrendered and got on the ground as instructed, and just moments before the kick. The officer now may also face criminal charges. The son of the woman who was arrested in Texas for 2 murders in 2 states says his mom was a good lady who had her own demons. Braden Reese says his mom, Lois, had a gambling addiction. Police say she killed her husband at her home in Minnesota, then drove to Fort Myers, Florida, and killed a woman who looked like her to use her identity. Reese was arrested in South Padre Island last month.
Heads up for anyone who has a Twitter account. The social media giant is urging all users to change their passwords. That's after a bug was found that could cause passwords to be stored without security encryption. Twitter says the bug has been fixed and there is no evidence any passwords were stolen, but they say it's a good idea to change yours just in case.